Yo, what's good, basketball heads? It's your boy Crush. So let's talk about Kawhi Leonard currently having the worst season of his NBA career. I don't know what's going on with Kawhi, man. Prior to Harden joining the team, he was balling. Before James Harden joined the team, Kawhi was doing his thing. He was putting up numbers, and he was fine. James Harden joined the team. Kawhi started submitting to Harden, and you could see it. And now his game fell off a cliff. Kawhi's not playing at the same level prior to James Harden joining the team. And I don't know what's going on with him, man. And now you got people talking about, he fell off. He's no longer in his prime. He's diminishing. Everybody's talking, NBA fans, analysts. Everybody got something to say. And I can't say for sure if Kawhi is falling off or if he did fall off already. I can't say that. I don't know. But I can tell you he is not playing at the level that we know he could play. And he was fine prior to James Harden joining the team. So it makes you wonder, is this the James Harden effect? And it's safe to say we haven't seen the best of Kawhi in 2023-24. So far in the season, we haven't seen the best of Kawhi. We have seen a few good games early on prior to James Harden joining the team. But ever since James Harden joined the team, we have not seen the best of Kawhi in recent games. And I don't know what's going on with him. He looks healthy, so we know it's not his health. He looks healthy. I don't know what's going on. And the man is only 32 years old. So I'm not going to say Kawhi is washed already. I'm not going to make that judgment or that assessment. I'm not going to say he's washed, but something is going on with him. But this is not the Kawhi. This is not the 2019 Kawhi. I know it's been years, obviously. He's a bit older, but he's still young. He's only 32. He's still in his prime, even though we know he have bad knees and whatnot. But all this started once James Harden joined the team. And I'm not trying to blame James Harden for Kawhi Leonard underperforming. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just stating the obvious. Before James got there, the man was balling, dropped 38 points on the Lakers, was doing his thing. James Harden came in, Kawhi game fell off a cliff. He can't close games no more. He's averaging under 20 points. And I don't know what's going on with Kawhi. Like, what's going on? So currently, Kawhi is averaging his lowest since 2014. He averaged 20.4 points in 2014, and that was his lowest. So Kawhi is averaging 20.4 points per game, 5.5 rebound, the lowest since his rookie year, 3.4 assists per game, the lowest since 2019. He's shooting 45.7% from the field, the lowest in his career. Kawhi normally averages around 50. At worst, he's 50% from the field. Kawhi Leonard is never under 50%. Rare. He's averaging 37% from the three-point line, the lowest since 2019. He's averaging 82.5% from the free throw line, the lowest since 2014. So if you can see, Kawhi Leonard is a shell of himself. This is not the Kawhi Leonard we have grown accustomed to. We have seen in the regular season when he's healthy and in the playoff. And right now he's underperforming. I don't know if it's because James Harden is there. Is something wrong with his knee, his body? He looks healthy. Is it a mental thing? But Kawhi Leonard, he's been underperforming. And if you watch the games, you can see it. This is not prime Kawhi Leonard. I won't say he's out of his prime just yet. Maybe in 2-3 years. But right now, no. I won't say that much. But something is off, man. I have yet to see Kawhi Leonard close a game. A few close games he was unable to close. And I don't know what's the issue right now with Kawhi Leonard. And if the Clippers are going to make any noise in the playoff, they're going to need Kawhi to be Kawhi. I know that's a long way from now, obviously, but you got to start right now, ramping up. And because a new player, another star, quote, comes to your team, that don't mean you should submit. You could both coexist without you submitting your game or you taking a major step back. Everybody got to sacrifice. That's common sense. If you got 3-4 stars on one court, you got to sacrifice. As you can see, Russell Westbrook chose to come off the bench. He's making the sacrifice. Everybody got to sacrifice. But that don't mean you, the number one option, you are the number one option. Speaking of Kawhi Leonard, he's the number one option. That don't mean you should sacrifice your game to the point everybody's like, what happened? We're all looking confused, like, what's going on with Kawhi? You could try to accommodate a new player, a star, or whatever, but don't sacrifice your game to the point you're doing the team a disservice. They need you to be Kawhi. The team operates best at their optimal when Kawhi is playing at his best. So they need him to be him. Don't sacrifice for James Harden. Don't sacrifice for anybody. You could try to accommodate a new player, but don't take a step back to where you are causing your team games because you're trying to be too unselfish. Don't do that, man. And something is clearly off with Kawhi right now. And I don't know what it is, but you can see it by the numbers. His game has declined and he's a shell of himself. With James Harden coming in, you're going to expect a little bit of drop off from Kawhi, Paul George, Russell Westbrook. It's normal because you got another person you got to share the ball with, another point guard who's a star. So there's going to be a little bit of drop off. That's obvious. But your game shouldn't fall off a cliff, especially when you're the number one option. You're supposed to be the number one dog. You're the alpha. You are the number one option. So as the number one option, you shouldn't take that much of a step back. So right now, Kawhi, like I said, I don't know what's going on with his game, but he's not playing well right now. At least not at the standard or his level. Not right now. And he got to find himself, man, because prior to James Harden getting there, Kawhi was doing his thing. I don't know if it's a rhythm situation. He needs more touches. I don't know what it is, but what I do know, this is not prime Kawhi Leonard. Not even close. So hopefully Ty Lue could figure out something. Hopefully Kawhi, he could find his game because they're going to need him. If the Clippers have any chance in hell to even sniff a Western Conference Finals, they're going to need two things. For Paul George and Kawhi to stay healthy and for Kawhi to play at an elite level. And if Kawhi can't play to the level they need him, the Clippers are not going anywhere. They ain't going nowhere. The previous 2 seasons, Kawhi Leonard shot 51% from the field and 41% from the three-point line. So as you can see, his game is down a lot. His numbers are down. And this all happened once James Harden joined the team. I'm not blaming James Harden for Kawhi Leonard's. It's more so on him to know I am the top dog. And it's more so on the coaching for Ty Lue to put him in certain situations for him to be successful. So far, things is not looking great for Kawhi, but it's early in the season. They got a lot of time. So hopefully, his game will come around. He'll figure things out. And Ty Lue will put him in situations where he could be successful. The same thing is going on with Russell Westbrook. Ever since he decided I'll come off the bench, he's not averaging 8 points per game. He was averaging about 15 prior to coming off the bench. Now Russell Westbrook is averaging 8 points per game. So you can see the impact of James Harden joining the team because he's very ball dominant. He has the ball a lot of times, and you can see the impact. Kawhi Leonard's game is struggling. Russell Westbrook's game is struggling. You can see the impact. Ever since moving to the bench, Russell Westbrook's scoring has plummeted to an average of 7.3 points per game, a pale comparison to his starting stats of 13.6 points per game. And the shift to the bench also affected his playmaking. His assist is down drastically from 6.5 to 2.2 per game. So Russell Westbrook is also struggling alongside Kawhi. Russell Westbrook's struggles is obvious. When he was starting, he boosted a solid 50% from the field and 31% from the arc. However, these numbers have taken a nosedive to 27.8 from the field and 20% from the arc. So Russ is really struggling, man, like horrifically. His numbers are horrendous. And you could only chalk this up to James Harden joining the team. The James Harden effect is real. Russ is struggling, Kawhi is struggling, their numbers are down, and hopefully things will pick up, moving forward. But right now, they're struggling. Funny enough, the catalyst for Westbrook's bench role appears to be the arrival of James Harden, who Westbrook have failed to establish on-court chemistry with. So Westbrook and James Harden, they don't have that chemistry on the court. And Russ is struggling. Kawhi is struggling. Ty Lue is going to have to put him in position to be successful. Figure out the lineups, what works, what don't work, what player complement each other. he's going to have to figure some things out, man, because you need Russ and you need Kawhi to be at their best. So more so, the challenge for Russ is going to be trying to adapt to a reduced role, which he has historically shown, resistance to accepting. In years prior, you could not convince Russell Westbrook to come off the bench. Now he has willingly accepted that role. He asked Ty Lue to come off the bench, which is a great thing. That shows growth. So he's willing to come off the bench. And funny enough, he's struggling. Hopefully he finds his game. He adjusts to being a bench player, because Russ don't come off the bench. He's not used to that. He's not accustomed to that. He got to readjust himself, and just try to find his game, man, because so now that James Harden has arrived and he could shoot, he could stretch the court, he could play the point just like Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook's future as a Clipper is now looking more bleak, because James Harden could do the same thing Russ could do. Maybe not play better defense, but he could run the point and he could stretch the floor. He could shoot. So even though Russ was doing his thing as a Clipper prior to James Harden arriving, Harden has more value because he could shoot. Harden also struggled off the ball. Even though he could shoot and stretch the floor, Harden struggles off the ball. So him playing the point, hopefully Russ could find his rhythm when he come off the bench. He could run the second unit. We're going to see what happened, man, with this experiment. It started off a little rocky. It was rough. They lost 5 games straight. Things is finally looking uphill. They won a few games. I know Russ requested to come off the bench, and that was a great feat for him, But with him playing less than 15 minutes per game, he's playing subpar. How long will Russ deal with that situation? Let's be real. Russ have an ego, and even though he said, I'll come off the bench, and he accepted the role, he's only playing, less than 15 minutes the past few games. And if he's playing less minutes and he's not performing, eventually frustration is going to kick in, and Russ might be like, you know what? I want out of here. And if that's the case, I don't see any team who's going to be lunging at Russell. At his advanced age, I don't know, man. So it's a tough situation, but this what happened when you bring James Harden in and you already have a player who have similar play style, except he can't shoot. This is a situation. But we're going to see what happens moving forward, man. But as always, I'll holla. As always, we just talking basketball. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, share, holla at your boy.
It's all about the game and how you play it. It's all about the game. I'ma say it. It's all about the game.